Hello Internet, and today's video is going to be another August wrap-up. As you guys may know, I participated in the NEWT readathon. There are 12 subjects, each revolving around a Hogwarts subject. So there are 12 categories that you can participate in. Each category has 3 prompts, and if you fulfill all 3 prompts, you can get an O. I wanted an O in all 12 subjects. So there are going to be 12 videos, each revolving around what I read for a given subject. So today's subject is going to be Arithmacy and the books I read to get my O in Arithmacy. So the first prompt for acceptable was to read a book that had 360 pages. For this I read Adventurers Wanted, The Horn of Moran. This is the second book in a series by M.L. Foreman. I really loved this book as a kid. My grandmother introduced me to it. I was in love. Adventurers Wanted follows the story of a boy named Alex who ends up getting into like a portal world where adventures are common and you can go on adventures, and he ends up becoming an adventurer. So in this book, it's about him now being, it's the second book, so him now having already gone on an adventure, going on his second adventure, him being a wizard in training, him like learning and fighting and stuff, and now they are on this adventure to get this very, very sacred horn that is supposed to help a kingdom from going into war. I think M.L. Foreman's writing is really, really easy. I would say the Adventurers Wanted series is like Lord of the Rings made easy. It is a high fantasy book, but it is very, very simple to read. I'm not saying it's dumb down or anything. It's just a really fast, easygoing read. You have a good time reading it. There's nothing complex or anything about it. You just have a good time. And I wanted to reread all of them. So like throughout all of these different subjects, you're going to see every book in this series because I hadn't read the last book that had recently come out, I think last year, because M.L. Foreman had had a stroke and had been really sick, and so the deadline for the last book in the series got pushed back. It wasn't supposed to be the last book, but because of his failing health, he finally wrote one that's kind of an ending, but not really. Anyway, I wanted to reread them all, so I borrowed them on ebook. I read them. I had a lot of fun. The second prompt, which was for exceeds expectations, is reading a book that ends on an even number, and here I read Gotham Academy Volume 1. So Gotham Academy takes place in Gotham. It is the academy that is sponsored by Bruce Wayne, and it follows this girl, Olive Silverlock, and her mother has been put away, and she is just at this academy. For some reason she doesn't have her memories or something, and then a lot of weird stuff happens, like ghost sort of stuff and supernaturally stuff. This was really disappointing. The first volume was okay. I think it wasn't the best written. I think it really wanted to focus on the aspect of the fact that we were in Gotham towards the end, rather than the fact that they were having supernatural stuff happening. And yes, I understand it's DC, I understand it's Batman, but come on, like, I've read tons of comics in the DC realm. Having something magical or supernatural happen is not out of the bounds, even in the DC universe. So I wish they had focused on this aspect. There were a lot of points that got really irritating in this, because there were a lot of points where Olive was getting information, where we were learning more about the history, about the plot, but then this other little girl would come in and just she would interrupt everything, and then you would have to wait forever, and everything was just sort of lackluster the whole way through. What I can say for this is at least the plot, you could follow it along, the storyline, you could follow it along. It was a mess, but you knew where you were going with it. It wasn't the best executed, but you knew what was happening. I cannot say that for the second volume, but I'll talk about that more when it comes up in another subject of the NEWTs. So I didn't like it, but I thought it was decent. Could have been better, but it was pretty okay for what it was. And then the last book that I read, the prompt for The Owl, was not the first book in a series, and for this I read Backstagers Volume 2. So Backstagers follows a group of kids who were behind the stage of a theater, and there is like a secret magic behind the stage of a theater that like has secret like theater magic stuff, like actual magic, not just like hey, I'm a theta kid and theta has magic, no, like actual magic stuff. And like weird creepy stuff starts happening backstage, and there's like an evilish presence and stuff going on. So it just follows a bunch of these kids as they try to survive and not be eaten by whatever's going on backstage, and to survive being backstagers. Of course, this is volume 2, so this is going to wrap up the story, but pluses for it. It is beautifully written, it's beautifully drawn. It has a lot of LGBTQ plus themes in it, just queer themes in general, with relationships, with people, all that sort of stuff. If you want a comic book that is great, beautifully written, as well as being something that has a fantastical element but has queer rep, then definitely go and read this. The only downside I would say that I had with the Backstagers was I think it got a little too rushed when it came to the villain aspect, when it came to the very end and all of that. Again, it makes sense, it works, all of it is good. I just would have preferred a little more there, a little more backstory, a little more why, maybe like a few pages where we go into the past of like what happened, all of that. We don't get a lot of that, and like that's fine. Also, it gets a little bit confusing when we get to the climax of like the final battle sort of stuff. I thought it got a little muddled in the plot and what was going on. All of it works. It's still a really great story, so I highly recommend it. So yeah, that was it. I read all of those for my Arithmacy. I got an O in Arithmacy. I am a genius. Slytherin should be proud. I'm proud. Isn't Slytherin pride like the thing we're known for? So yeah. If you have any great comics that you think I should read, because as you can see here, I read one good one and then one that was really subpar, comment down below and let me know. Click all those bunnies down below, and goodbye, internet.